Welcome to this week's episode of the Step Into Grace podcast. This is a space where we share honest conversation, real stories, and the kind of experiences that remind us of how deeply connected we all are. At the heart of this podcast is the belief that storytelling has the power to heal. It has the power to teach and to bring light into places that once felt dark. And when women share their journeys openly, it gives others permission to reflect on their own lives, to find strength in their struggles, and to realize that they are never alone. Today, we are so honored to welcome Christine Sadry, whose life story is a profound testament to resilience, identity, and the human capacity to reclaim what was lost. Taken from her birth country of Poland and separated from her family, for 13 years, Christine survived a childhood marked by isolation, hardship, and unrelenting search for truth. Her journey ultimately led to reunion, healing, and a remarkable career serving on the global stage. She captures this powerful story in an award-winning book, 13 Years Lost. And today she joins us to walk through that journey in her own words. Christine's story is not about survival. It's about transformation, purpose, and the courage to rewrite your future. We are grateful she is here to share it with us. So welcome, Christine. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much, Julie. It's such an honor to be here with you to talk about my book.
Yes, and we know each other for some time, and your book is such an inspiring story, and I think that you're really making an impact by sharing your story on so many people in our area locally as well as around the world. So we're very excited. So just why don't you start off by introducing yourself and share a little bit about where your story began, where your life began in Poland.
Well, my name is Christine Sadry. In Polish, it was Krystyna Daniłowicz, and I was born in Poland in the northeastern corner. And this was after the war in a little village. Life was very difficult back then, and it was cold and hazy days and foggy. But we were a normal family. I had three sisters, a mother, a father, a grandmother. We had livestock. We had, pastures. Even though it was a humble house, we were still a happy family. And then one day, my mother was feeling ill, and I remember her being very sad. And at some point, she ended up going to the hospital, but we thought that she would come back. I do remember the moment where she huddled us together and said, "I will be back." And so we all waited, but she never came back. She was so ill, she died at the hospital. And this is after communism. During communism, there was no phones. So the only way we found out was the hospital called my sister's school back then.
Wow.
And so the principal came to her class and announced very loudly that her mother died and to go home. So she came home and we saw her, coming home with tears. And of course, I was 5 years old. I didn't understand death very much, but I remember the neighbors coming and everyone getting together and everyone cried. And from that moment on, everything changed in my life. My sisters were taken by my aunt and my uncle, and I was left in the village with my grandmother, helping her and, of course, going to school.
Wow, that's such a traumatic way to learn about the passing of your mother. I mean, of course, it's the lack of communication, but back then it's like, compassion and being gentle about it. It just wasn't a way of life, and that's got to be such a difficult thing for not only you, but for your siblings as well to learn in that way.
It was a shock. Everything changed, and my father left. He sort of, I guess, abandoned the family. So we were all taken. And my grandmother, she had some family in America, and she used to talk to me about America. And when you're a 7-year-old child, we have this great imagination. So I would hear her talking about America. And I knew, I felt we were behind the Iron Curtain. And I
Yeah.
used to wonder, if we were behind the Iron Curtain, what was on the outside? What were they hiding from us? What was the world out there? So I kept hearing about America, and my imagination was just going wild. And one day, I was about 8 years old. I was walking in my village. There was only like 20 houses there. And a man that, of course, I didn't know, but my aunts, uncles knew. He came to visit someone in that village. And I ran into him, and he asked me, "Do you want to come to America?" Well, to me, it was something I heard about. It was this
Yeah.
land of everything, this land of freedom, this land of opportunity. And so I said, of course, yes. I'm 8 years old, but I was just so excited. I'm like, oh my God, this is my moment.
Yes.
And so I ran home and I told my grandmother. I knew enough to tell her that my father has to sign the papers.
Oh,
And so the adoption started. I mean,
okay.
how else, of course. So I went to school and I was very excited, but no one really believed me. I mean, here I am in this tiny little village in the northeastern corner of Poland. This is
Hmm.
communism. This is, no one gets out. The Iron Curtain was drawn. And so this was this huge opportunity. So finally, the day came for my departure, and my grandmother, she packed everything, gifts for my new family. And of course, things, my things, my documents. And I remember before leaving, I thought to myself, I need to remember my address. Even though at 8 years old, I was, a child, but I
Right.
remember thinking to myself, I need to learn my address, which it wasn't easy because it's Krystyna Danilowicz, wieś Krasne, Poczta Krasnopol, Powiat
Oh,
Sejny, Województwo Białystok. So it was a lot for a
that is a
child
lot.
to remember.
Yeah.
And but like every day I would study my address. I'm like, who knows what's going to happen? So the day that came for me to leave, my grandmother, we hugged, we kissed. My sister came with me to the train station in Suwałki, and my uncle Marian took me to Warsaw for the plane ride. But while as we were saying goodbye at the train, I had these feelings of excitement and sadness. It was like
Yeah.
I was so excited to go to America, to have two parents, but I was so brokenhearted because I was leaving my family, my sisters.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so hard.
Yeah, it was like two worlds, but yet both of them were so inside of me, so alive.
Hmm.
And the day that we got to Warsaw, actually in my book, this picture is of me the day that I left on the plane to go to Poland. They put me on a chair at the airport to take the photo, so in case I got lost, I would be found.
Wow. That's incredible.
And they put a name tag on me, and I went.
So what I'm curious to know what made your grandmother feel like she could trust him, or what do you have any sense of how the agreement was made that he was going to adopt you and how she felt comfortable with that at that time, or do you not really know how that happened?
Well, later I found out that my aunt, my grandmother's daughter, my aunt,
Right.
she knew someone in her town uh, that were related to this couple in America who had no children, weren't able to have
Oh,
children. So
okay.
this is how I
It
didn't
kind of
know
makes
anything.
sense. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
so this is
they're
how it all. So my aunt really and her uncle were the ones dealing with these people and the family, and of
Mhm.
course my grandmother trusted them. I
Right.
mean, if life is a risk, whatever you do,
Sure. Sure.
but we had faith, so
Right.
you
Well,
hope
and
for the
also
best.
with your mother's passing and the father
Yeah.
leaving and these three children, you're trying to do what's best for everyone.
Yeah, and I told my grandmother that I wanted to go. It wasn't like she pushed me away. She
Right.
said, "You have to go." I said, "I can handle it."
Mm. Yes.
I'm if anyone, I wanna go. I was first and I am going. So
I
it
could
was
see
this
that. Knowing you.
and, so I arrive at JFK and I remember seeing all these people coming, the stewardess back then, she sat me down, I guess stayed with me for a little while. And I see people greeting and meeting and reunions, and nobody was there waiting for me. And I remember thinking, oh my God, what have I done?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? You're 9 years old, you don't speak a language, you're in a foreign land, you know nothing and no one. And
Hmm.
I thought, well, I didn't even know what a system was. I was thinking, are they
Right.
going, what's going to happen to me? Will they send me back? Have I failed already?
Hmm.
And so all these things were coming, a little bit of fear, anxiety. And then about an hour later, my adopted father shows up. And,
Okay.
I don't remember whether we hugged or whatever. We got my suitcases and I was just so excited. It looked like, oh
Yeah.
my God, I'm going to have a mother. I'm going to have a father. We took the suitcases. I remember driving from JFK we lived in Philadelphia, all the lights, you're coming from a
So
tiny village.
everything feels so different from Poland
Yes,
online.
it was like
Yeah.
everything was on, lit up. The whole world was lit up. When you're coming from a village where there's no electricity and there's 20 homes and you're on a farm, to this whole world opening
Yeah.
up of lights, of traffic, of everything. Oh, it was like, I mean, I couldn't stop looking.
Yeah.
And we arrive very late at night. And I meet my adopted mother, and we have the suitcases and everything. And they show me this lovely pink bedroom. And I felt like, oh my God, I was the most blessed and most fortunate child in the world. I was exhausted and I went to sleep
Yeah.
and, meeting everyone,
Right.
my parents.
Your family. Yes.
And the next morning I woke up and everything was gone. Everything. Because, I took a shower, I put, clothing that they had laid out for me. Everything was gone. All my
Um,
suitcases, all my documents, every piece of clothes, everything. And I remember I had this very uneasy feeling, like
yeah.
it
What's
wasn't
going
good,
on?
you know?
Yeah.
I mean, of course, you still have an open mind and you're like, it's not, but inside your intuition is telling you something that this was not a good sign.
Hmm.
But I met them and the mother didn't speak Polish. I didn't speak English. So really, my adoptive father was translating everything. And basically, he was working and both of them. So they signed me up for school, St. Mary's School. It was a Polish Catholic school.
Hmm.
And but still, you don't know the language, you don't know a soul, you have you have no one, no family, nothing. So
Yeah.
I was, made you think a lot. It made you just, I just try to understand, try to absorb, try to find out how I can fit into this new world.
Right.
And my hope was that in school, I'll start learning the language. But what happened, since they've never had someone from a foreign country, the nun never taught me anything. I ended up covering children's school books in the whole school for the next full year. I learned nothing. And I remember thinking, am I mentally deficient? Is there, am I stupid? Why is this nun? I mean, I've never seen nuns before. So like I was
Right.
wondering what was wrong with me that I'm not being taught anything. I didn't learn anything. I mean, you make some friends, but when you don't speak the language, you're a different culture. You don't
Yeah.
make great friendships. You don't know how to talk.
Yeah.
So
It sounds like you're just coping and in survival mode at
yeah,
this point.
just hanging on there, just surviving,
Right.
just getting through the day.
Mhm.
And after being there for like 2 weeks, I said to my father, "I like to write to my family." And I knew already that I couldn't say too much. I couldn't say anything. So I just wrote a short note saying, "Hello, whatever. I'm safe. I arrived safely. My family is nice. I'm okay." Just that feeling. That's all I said. And that was fine. Another 2 weeks passed, and I asked my father if I could write again. I'm 9 years old. I'm missing my sisters, my grandmother, my whole family.
And
So I asked.
I'm sure you're expecting to get a letter in return to check on you, right? I mean, wouldn't you think?
Yes, anything, just to at least I always thought I would be connected to them somehow.
Right. Yeah.
So I write the second letter, and he comes back with it like the next day, and he said, "You miss your family. You have no family. You
Oh,
will never see your family again. You will never write to them again. You are ours, and we are your family." And I remember thinking, "Oh my God." And like it was like a threat, like to the point
yeah.
where I was even afraid I couldn't even cry for my family because they would be angry. How
Um,
dare you?
yeah.
And then I started to notice on the mailbox a lock put on it, on the outside mailbox. So
Wow.
I knew that there were correspondence had to be coming for me, except I wasn't allowed to have access.
So they're cutting you off.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
couldn't talk about it. Like in the beginning, they didn't even want me to tell people I was adopted, that I mean,
Mhm.
of course I'm from another. So it was like this secret. I was this secret holding, they were holding. So I
Yeah.
really wasn't allowed to even go out and play. I wasn't allowed to make friends. I didn't speak the language. So it was a very, very lonely time.
Yeah, that's so
Um,
hard.
yeah, and it's like just trying to figure out. So by the time I got to fifth grade, the teacher taught, acted normally, and I learned English. She expected me to take tests. And in
Okay.
the beginning, I was pretty bad, but I was so determined. I mean, when you don't learn anything for a year, I was like, I wanted to learn the language. I wanted to be the best. So like I started getting like C's and maybe God knows what D's in the beginning because I didn't learn anything. But by the time I reached eighth grade, I was an AB student. I
Yeah.
was 90s and hundreds, but because I was so hungry.
So do
And I
you think something started to switch in you where you went from, sort of still longing for your family to I need to do something to take care of myself? Did you feel a shift in your mindset where you needed to learn the language in order
Yeah.
to have a
Yeah. Well,
future?
I knew that I felt no one was going to help me. It
Yeah.
was me.
No one's going to save
And
you.
yeah, no one was going to come and save me. I mean, and not even that, I wasn't allowed to cry. So I would wait at night till they go to sleep, and then I would
Oh,
cry my heart out
yeah.
every night for years.
Yeah.
Because, they would say, "How dare you cry? We're giving you
Right.
everything. You have everything. You're so ungrateful."
You need to be grateful. Yeah.
Yes. So I couldn't even show that I was sad, that I missed my family, that I was brokenhearted. But I knew that education was going to be my one way out. And I
Hmm.
knew that one day I would grow up. I wasn't going to be a child forever. So those two things and kept me going.
Hmm.
And but and once I started to like turn 13, 14, my father started not look at me as a child, but more like checking me out, like,
Yeah.
and that scared me even more.
Yeah.
So I figured if, I didn't even know what sex was, but I remember thinking, if anything happens, it will be a fight to death. One
Hmm.
of us will die. I
Yeah.
mean, I wasn't going to like be a lamb and sacrifice myself. But he never approached me. He would just say awful things to me, to berate me, to belittle me, to feel so bad that I would succumb to so that he would be kind to me.
Right.
But I never gave in. I would always answer back, and of course, he would then get physically abusive. So it
Mm.
was this roller coaster. But I still knew that in all that, I didn't want to go to the police because the reason I didn't report it, because I didn't. want to go into the system. I still knew
Yeah.
there was a system. And my idea was I wanted to know that I laid my head down every day in the same spot. I had
Hmm.
enough trauma in my daily life that to take me out of this traumatic house would be worse, because then I would have no grounding. So it was very important for me, for my soul, I realized, to be grounded no matter how bad, as long as they didn't kill me, which is
Hmm.
crazy. I
Yeah.
needed to be grounded. I needed to know it was the same house I came to. It was the same two abusive, cruel people. I mean, there were normal days. There were normal days, but I was lonely. I missed my family. I couldn't talk about them, and my father started to look at me differently. My mother, one time I told her that he's behaving very strangely towards me, and I'm a little afraid. He manipulated that I wanted him, so then she started to hate me. It was
Uh,
crazy. So I knew I had no allies.
yeah.
I knew I didn't want to go to the police. I didn't want to go into foster care, because then I wouldn't. It's better to be with the devil you know than
Right.
the devil you
Yeah,
don't.
it's incredible as a child that not even knowing the language and being in this situation that you're able, to calculate what is your best option. You're looking at the situation and at least the familiarity of the same thing is a clear expectation, whereas the unknown, like who knows, it could have been worse if you had gone into the system. And so you're at this young age dealing with all of this trauma and still making those kinds of calculations that, okay, well, I need to be in this one place because at least I know what to expect, because who
Yes,
knows what the alternative would be. And then to also then think about your education as your ticket to freedom as you're aging. So talk a little bit about that. How did that give you more of a sense of control as you're growing up, and the education part of it for you? How did that impact your future?
that was very important. That was education, just trying to be grounded and not, I'm not a depressive person. I'm not a down person. I mean, the glass could be empty, but I'm still like, it's a half full glass.
Yeah,
I'm still alive.
that's
So
wonderful.
to me, it was like study. Education was it. So once I went to West Catholic Girls High School, and so I really, I studied. I was so determined because I knew that would be my way out. It was the only way out. But there was a tuition cost for to go to a Catholic private school. And I knew I didn't want to go to public school, And so after the first year, they're like, we're not paying for you to go to school. I thought, I'm 15. I need a job, no, and I knew by then in the US, nobody hires a 15-year-old. So I'm like, okay, I'm tall, I'm thin. So I went into the Philadelphia Inquirer and I looked for jobs, and I found like a little modeling place where I got jobs. Some of it was a little modeling. It was an honest place. It was run by this very nice, it was a Black man, but he was a very kind, gentle soul. And aside from doing a few like runway shows, we used to hand out American Express applications,
Oh,
uh, different like colleges or whatever. And for each one that got signed up, we got $5. And that's how I put myself through high school.
yeah. Amazing.
And, you know, but I was getting better, I was getting A's and B's. And so, but I realized that I couldn't go to college if they didn't pay for my high school.
Right.
And I was still always afraid of what he would do. I mean, there were so many abusive moments that I was very fearful.
Right.
So I decided that the only way that I could afford to go to a private school was to get a job. The school offered go to school in the morning and work in the afternoon. So in the morning, I took my classes. Most of my friends took classes for college,
Hmm.
preparatory classes. In turn, I thought I need to work. I need to
Hmm.
put myself through school. So I took classes going to school in the morning and working at a place like a mini Amazon where it was a packaging place and they were mailing things out. And I was like a receptionist.
Okay.
And so I was putting myself through school, even to the point that I was a second honor student and an honor student. And then when I turned 18, I thought, okay, I'm now legal.
Right.
I wrote to my family in Poland, and I remember that address long ago. And I found a girlfriend who would,
Mail it
get
for
receipt
you.
a letter. I could put her
Yeah.
address, and I wrote, Helena Moros, Elżbieta, all my sisters, Elżbieta, Teresa, Joanna,
Right.
everyone. And I sent a letter to Poland. And finally, months later, so I'm 18, the letter comes back. And I'm so excited. I open it, and it was a strange letter. And I wrote back. I had this communication for a while, but it never felt right. She started telling me she had, that she was Elizabeth, and no, she was Teresa, and all the sisters left. And I asked her for a photo. I didn't recognize her. And I decided there was something wrong with it. And I
Yeah.
figured, okay, when I turn 30, I'm 18, I will go back and I will find my family.
Right.
And so I still, I stopped writing to them. I continued working. And then finally I graduated, and I met a really nice boy that I fell madly in love with. And he was kind. He was thoughtful. He was very nice.
That's nice.
And I ended up being a single mother.
Mm.
But when I was pregnant, he didn't. I also, before then, I got a job, Social Security Administration, because I was an honor student and I was taking already secretarial courses. They sent me a notice to apply for a position as a secretary at
Right.
Social Security Administration, and I got the job.
Nice.
So I had my boyfriend, and I did get pregnant. He didn't want to get married. But after I had my daughter, I had the job, I had the apartment, I had everything. He wants to get married. I'm like, no. Oh, I would
Yeah.
have married you before, but now why am I getting married?
Yeah.
And I was already thinking, so I'll have to divorce you because I want a great life and you're like very laid back.
Yeah.
And he didn't
Not
have much ambition.
ambitious. Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
And I thought, I'll have to support three people. And then if I want a divorce, he won't divorce me. I'll fight for that. I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm not getting married. I don't
Right.
want to, so I had to break that relationship up. I mean, we're still seeing each other. He was a very good father, but he was not the person for me.
Right.
And I wasn't going to marry him just for the sake of it. And then a few years went by, and I'm working for Social Security. I'm raising my daughter, and I get a phone call from Chicago. And it's this person saying, hello, are you Christine so and so? Were you in a contest, Miss Philadelphia? Yes. Well, I'm a private investigator, and I've been searching on behalf of your sister in Poland.
Oh my
Like,
God.
okay. I'm like, and they want you to write to them. And I thought, I went through this at 18 and it was a
Wow.
fake.
Yeah.
So I said to him, listen, if you're really looking for, if you're really connected to my sister,
Right.
you tell my sister to write to me. And if I think that's my sister, I will write to her. And if I
Mhm.
don't, and I won't, because I figured I'm not going to be fooled again.
Right. Right.
And of course, months pass and I get this letter, which is in the book. Dear Chris, I'm your oh, it had to be in English because I didn't speak Polish by then. I forgot the language.
Right.
And so it's, Dear Chris, she had it translated. I'm your sister, Elizabeth. I've been searching for you all my life. We've never given up for you. And we are so happy, that we now can talk to you. And of course, my whole world shattered. I cried. It's like two worlds colliding. Here I am. I've been a lone child, alone, fighting, just being by myself, trying to survive, trying to do everything by myself, learn the language. And now I have a family. So the two worlds were like, I could feel my brain exploding. It was just,
Wow.
yeah, it was so much.
Mm.
And, you know, and so many things happened. In the end, we did reunite. First, I brought one sister over. Then I wanted to go visit Poland, but it's a
Yeah.
communist country.
Right.
And So my sister Teresa, who first came, I didn't know how to get a visa. I mean, I had to find when I left these people, I left with nothing. I left
Nothing.
with no
Yeah.
clothes, no documents,
No
no
identification.
identity. So I had to call courthouses to get my adoption papers, my naturalization papers. And it wasn't like Google. I had to call,
Yeah.
try to remember, when do I think I was, naturalized? I knew when this, to put my identity together,
Yeah.
hoping I had an identity.
Right. Who knows if you're going to find it? Yeah.
Yes. And so once I was able to do that, get the passport, then my sister, Teresa, said, well, I know someone who is coming to the UN from Poland. He's a diplomat. Maybe we can contact him and he can help you get a visa to go to communist Poland. I said, wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's how I ended up at the United Nations, just to go there to try to get a visa, So I
Yeah.
told them my story. I brought my documents and how to go with the process to have to finally, after all these years, 13 years, to go visit my family, my country, my birthplace.
Right.
And while I was there, I was like, it felt so right, because even though I was Americanized, I still knew of the whole world out there. And I thought,
Yeah.
wow, I said to him, it must be amazing to work in such a place with all these cultures. The whole
Yeah.
world is there, to have
Right.
such a connection and just to be part of this world. And so he's like, go to personnel and apply. I'm like,
To work in the United
no,
States. That's insane.
me.
Right?
Said, go and apply. And I'm like, no, listen, I didn't go to college. I'm working at Social Security. By then I was an exception examiner, was promoted. He said, just go and get an application. You know. So I'm like, fine. So I did. And I applied, and they called me in for tests. I had to go back to New York, take the train, typing shorthand and just IQ tests and everything. And then I was told I had a position, a 3-month contract with the
Okay.
International Conference on Women at the United Nations. So here
Incredible.
I am working with the Social Security Administration for 6 years,
Uh-huh.
very, secured. And to resign and go on a
Yeah.
3-month
Too much.
contract, scary.
Yeah.
But I thought, okay, well,
Opportunity.
I mean, if I was crazy enough to leave Poland to come to America, just just go with it. So I resigned from my job and I took a position at the UN.
That's incredible. I mean, that's just amazing. You never know what opportunity is going to look like. And it can be such a leap of faith, but sometimes, you just have to follow your gut and do what you think. Because in the position that you were in, maybe there was a ceiling at Social Security that you would have kind of stayed in that same level. And had you not done this, you never would have reached the goals that you had for yourself.
Exactly. Well, to me, it was I was dreaming of an opportunity to be in the world,
Yeah.
to see the world,
Right.
and so it was like I had to take it. I mean, I didn't know a soul in New York. I'm going for a 3-month contract. I had nowhere to live. I have a child.
Yeah.
So I had to, I didn't want to stay. So I found a place in New York to stay at the YWCA, because I was too afraid to stay at the YMCA. And my daughter stayed with a friend of mine, and I took this job, and it was wonderful. International Conference on Women, and I met, I felt so great. I was working for the executive officer, dealing with visas and documentation, and I don't know if anyone remembers, Bella Abzug came, and the meeting was going to be held in Copenhagen, and I mean, it was a whole new world. And I found an apartment, and I brought my daughter, and I mean, it was like it all opened up to me. And then the Pope, usually there's always an Italian Pope. At that time, the first non-Italian Pope was elected, and he was coming to the United Nations. So I was like, oh my God, all the stars
Yeah.
realigned for this moment.
Right. That's just incredible. That's so amazing. I mean, to go from what you've been through to that moment. So let's talk about the search for your family, how that continued then.
Well, when once they found me and I received the letter, it
Mhm.
was just it felt right. But
Yeah,
it completely I didn't speak Polish, but it completely like overwhelmed me. I felt like I was losing my mind.
yeah.
My sister Teresa came and I we really never connected when we were children. I don't know why I thought that we would connect well as adults. So that was a very difficult time.
Was she your older sister?
She was older,
The older one, yeah.
but it was not a very, I didn't feel welcome. It
Well,
was a
I'm
very,
sure it's just very awkward. And through the years, you imagine this fantasy or this fairy tale of reunion being so glorious and everybody's
oh,
coming
the love,
Yes,
yes.
yes. And then
And
reality sets in and you're from two totally different sides of the world now when
yeah,
you've grown up and it's sure, I can see where the expectations would be so different from reality.
and she wasn't the loving, the kind, the heartful sister that I thought she would be. She's like, well, if I don't look good, I don't feel good.
Oh
I'm
boy.
like, oh
Yeah.
my God, what have I done? So things were really quite not well. And then I remembered we never got along as kids when I was in Poland. What? And so
That part.
yeah. So once I got my documentation to go to Poland for the reunion before I joined the UN, I was thinking, oh my God, what if these people are not, I was very afraid. What if they're like my sister and they're like, hello, they
Yeah.
weren't nice. So I was a little terrified. I was afraid to bring my daughter because I didn't know what to expect. I
Yeah.
didn't know whether they would love me. I didn't know whether they would reject me. I had no idea. But
Mhm.
I thought I have to find out whatever it is.
Mhm.
So once I arrived there, and of course, when I arrived, it was still communist. So when the plane landed in Warsaw, there were all this military with guns pointed at us.
My goodness.
And I'm like, wow, I'm back in behind the Iron Curtain. It was like lined with you know
Yeah.
AK-47 pointing at the plane. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
But in the end, I get out of the plane and I'm looking for a face that I would recognize. And I found my sister, and we recognized each other. It was such a beautiful moment. And yeah, and so, but it was very overwhelming because it was confusing. The
Yes.
two worlds were so different. They
Yeah.
were two opposites. I was a only child in America fighting to survive, and here I am in a different language, different world with people that loved me and missed me and knew me. So I lost my identity completely for a while. I could look at myself. I didn't know who I was. It
Yeah,
was
it's
so
like
bad.
it's such an emotional roller coaster where you have this image of how it's going to be and then the reality of what it really is. And where do you find your identity in all of that?
Yeah.
Like, how do you understand, who really am I? Am I from there? Am I from here? How do you really merge the two worlds? It's to become who you are today. I mean, how does that look like for you now?
Now I will say, I mean, it opens you up to so much. You're international, especially working with the UN. There's a whole world out there. There's
Yeah.
there's all these cultures,
Yeah.
and there are all these wonderful people you meet. They're good, kind souls. So it makes you more open, more welcoming to everyone. It really gives you a sense that we are not alone.
Yeah.
We are really, as a world, we are all the same, and
Yeah,
we're
and
all,
a lot of times there's so many times where people want to put others in a bucket or with a label like you're Polish or you're American or you're this or you're that, when really it's you're hardworking or you're kind and loving. And those are better labels, the way
yes.
that we can look at each other in terms of how we identify and how we relate to others. It doesn't every single person from Poland isn't the same. But when you look at someone that's loving and kind and interesting or thoughtful or hardworking, those are qualities that we can really understand and really relate to and be
That's
connected by.
worldwide.
Yeah,
Yes.
and everybody has a mix of, oh, I was born here and I grew up here and now I work here and I've had all these different things in my life that historically have changed who I am. But it's what you've done with that story to create who your identity is today as a woman and as an adult and a successful mom that was a mom while taking a job at the UN and really pushing yourself to become successful and to make the most of your life. It's just an incredible story.
Oh, thank you. No,
Yeah.
I just always, I never felt defeated, no matter how bad things were. I've always like believed, even like I would do yoga at one point when because my work, when my daughter was little, allowed me to stay home with her I was the head of the family because I was alone. So I was able to stay home. I was able to get a good paycheck because of that. And I stayed home and I ended up getting this yoga book and I would do yoga. And it really helped me to sort of be calmer and to think more about the world, think about my own situation and try to unite these two worlds, and it gave me a lot. It gave me a lot of, I think if, because I was always on this wheel trying to survive, make it, don't get depressed, just keep going, keep going, keep going. And don't look back. Like the one thing, like when I left my adopted family, the one thing I did, no matter everything that happened, I remember thinking to myself, you must let it go. You must just let them go. Don't have hate, don't have anything. That was part of your life. You can't, what all the things, all the bad things that happened to you, you have to let it go.
Yeah.
You are now making
The
your future.
acceptance that this is how things are. When you accept something that you can't control, then you have a little sense of freedom that you can move forward, right? And so I think,
Yes.
that's so
And you're
important.
not carrying the past, because what I felt is if I stayed with this anger at them and this loss and this betrayal, that would, every decision I would make in my life would be based on those emotions. And I didn't want to have those emotions. I didn't want any decision based on that, on hate, on everything. I wanted to start anew. I wanted to look at life with new eyes, with fresh eyes. And what happened, just let them be. It happened. I'm okay. I'm alive. I went through a lot. I survived it. I've survived it all.
I mean, and anybody that knows you, which I have for some time, knows that your energy is so positive, and you just radiate this gratitude for life and living and making the most of every day, and it's evident when someone meets you that you're living what you're talking about. And I would love for you to tell us, so what moved you to write your book, 13 Years Lost? How did that transpire?
Well, I started writing things down because crazy things were happening to me. Like, when I wrote to my family at 18 and some fake person tried to write back to me, or bringing my sister, getting a phone call from Chicago, or uh, bringing my sister over and if things were not right, or ending up at the UN. So I would write things, or even some of the abuse that I encountered, that it was, like I would be fighting for my dignity and he would be like beating me over the head or something. So I would write these because I thought, I might forget. So much is happening in my life. I might forget it. And then when my life turned around, I started working at the UN. I started meeting people. I was working at the Information and External Relations Division. I was on the administrative side, assisting with international conferences in Spain, Mexico, Geneva. All these wonderful things kept happening. So I thought, wow, it's a lot. Maybe I should just start writing it down, not as a book, but just in case I ever want to look back, I'll remember it. And one day I got maybe about 30 pages. And I asked my niece to read it. My sister who found me, her daughter. And she read the 30 pages. She's like, Auntie, you have to write a book. Oh my God.
Oh.
Oh my God. So she was so excited. So I'm like, baby, she's right. So I
So
would,
you had been writing a book without even knowing it,
yeah,
almost
I was just
like
writing
getting the
things
framework
down.
together and important memories and things like that.
Yeah. I was never planning on writing a book. I just wanted to, so I don't forget all these things that happened. And then finally, it just got to be more pages. And then the crazy thing, I was walking here in Verona Walk, and I never talk to people usually because I'm busy doing my walk. And one day I see this girl and she's walking very slowly. And I thought, it annoyed me, which is crazy. So I said to her, do you want to walk with me? And she said, sure. And so we started walking together. And I said, who are you? Where are you from? Oh, she said, I just came back from Poland. I'm like,
Oh my
what?
goodness. That's
And
insane.
I never talk to people. I never ask people to walk with me. The first person
Wow.
I ask is this girl from Poland that just came back. And so after about a week or two, I said, I've been working on something. So she read some of the notes because I've been trying then. By then I was
Yeah.
sort of trying lazily.
Bring it together.
And
Yeah.
she read it and she's like, oh my God, this is great. Give me more pages. I didn't have any more pages. So I was so ashamed that I wasn't writing. So every day she would come for me to walk and she wanted more pages. So I had to sit there every night and write.
So she made you write the book.
She forced me to write to the end
I
where
love
I'm like,
it.
okay, I have no more
Fun.
pages to write.
Wow,
So
that's
it
a
was
great
just a
story.
lot of things, happened. And then like with the publishing, I'm like, oh, editing. I needed someone to edit. And I'm like, okay, I'm no writer. I have a story, but I need editing.
Yeah.
I worked with this friend, Kelly, in the Congo, and I thought because I had her work on board of inquiries with me. She was very smart, this and that. So she was going to Ireland, and I'm like, she was in Malta. I'm like, I'll meet you in Ireland, and I thought I'll bring my notes, my manuscript. She'll edit my book. So I get so excited. I pack it up. I go to Ireland, and she's meeting with another friend, Orla, and I'm like, it's okay, everything's fine. And I go, Kelly, here's my book. Would you edit it? And she says, no. She says, I know you the way I know you, and I don't want to know you otherwise. And I'm like,
Oh,
oh, shit.
okay.
So I thought, well, let me ask, so I'm like, I was really in a stuck. So here I'm meeting Orla, this her friend, and I find out Orla worked with her at the UN. She was in Afghanistan, Kandahar, and she's now, I see her talking to FAO, editing their documents, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, I thought, Orla, would you edit my book? And she said, I'll think about it. So anyway, in the end, Orla agreed. And
Oh,
it was perfect because Orla also went through after the war, Ireland suffered so much and they had all this deprivation and fear and everything. So not only she had the UN background, but she had also, she was my age and she had gone through a lot.
history.
So
Yeah, similar
the
history.
person couldn't be more perfect to edit my book.
Wow, it's
And
incredible.
then, so now I have this fabulous manuscript that I wanted to be proud of. I know what's a good book. I
Right.
read bad books, so I knew what
Yeah.
I wanted. And then, so I'm like, oh my God, my husband was ill. And I thought, oh, I was looking for an agent. What do I do? Go to New York. How do I trust? So I thought, let me Google. So I Googled publishers, Naples, and O'Leary Publishing popped up.
Yes,
And
yes.
so I end up with April O'Leary,
Oh,
this wonderful woman,
yeah.
And so everything, and April's the one who says, you have to meet Julie. You have to join her group. So
April
it's
and I have
like,
been friends for many years, probably 15 years. She's amazing.
so this is how I ended up here.
Yes, yes, I love it. So what do you want readers to take away from your book?
I want them to take away women or anyone that never give up.
Yeah.
I mean, I was I was in a foreign country. I didn't speak the language. I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Education is so important.
Yeah.
Keep yourself grounded.
Hmm. Hmm.
You know, just remember, you will grow. You will grow up. Just keep your focus. No, and it's important to have like imagination. I
Hmm.
mean, I would think about things, focus on them. And I learned that like you can't imagine everything because then you don't know where you end up. But if you have a focus, like I knew America, I ended up in America. You know, I knew I belonged in an international environment. It wasn't like I was looking for it, but I knew it was in my soul. And I felt like you don't give up.
Yeah.
Just know that if you keep yourself grounded, stay educated, don't get lost in the drugs, don't get lost in alcohol.
Right.
Keep Make sure you have good friends that have your back. That
Yeah.
you know things you can find your way.
Yeah.
Don't lose yourself.
Yeah. Such important lessons, Christine. And I think sometimes coming from someone with such a journey, with such a tragic past can inspire so many women, so many people in general that, we all have a story to tell, and the gratitude, the resiliency, the perseverance, all of those things lead to hope and can transform your lives if you can stay in that positive mindset.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
what
Never to
advice
give up.
would you give to someone that's in the middle of their darkest chapter? If you had to speak to someone that was in the middle of something that's very difficult right now, what would you say to them?
Well, I would say that, if you're in a bad place, if you're depending on your age, like if there's horrible abuse in your life, where your life is threatened, then I would say yes, go find someone that can help you, that you can trust, go to them.
Mhm.
But don't like bury your soul in drugs and meeting bad friends, or try to find someone that can help you, that can be your friend,
Mhm.
that can guide you, or if nothing else, be your own best friend. Be
Mhm.
kind to yourself. You will make mistakes, but don't ever give up.
Mhm.
There's always hope. Always, you can always make a better life if you
Yeah.
don't give up on yourself.
Like looking for the light. Is it yourself? Is it someone else? Is it prayer? Is it a friend? Is it, a helping hand? Be on the lookout for something that's a
Yes.
light that will keep you, moving in the right direction toward hope and a better life.
And once you leave that bad life, your hardships, don't dwell on it. Don't
Mhm.
carry it with you, because if you carry it, every decision you make will be based on all the things that happen to you. Close that door and
Yeah,
go with a fresh focus. Know
yeah,
that there's good people out there, and know that you can make a good life.
that's wonderful. Thank you so much, Christine. So let's talk about where are you today? You're in Naples, Florida. Let's talk about where people can connect with you, where they can find the book, if you have any book signings coming up. What do you have going on right now?
Well, I have I'll be at Books on Third
Can you show
next
the book
week.
again? Can you hold the book up for me? Okay, so 13 Years Lost, and it's on Amazon and all the places, right?
And I have a webpage, christinesadry.com. You
Okay.
can find all my podcasts. You can find my book launching. You can find, I'm on Facebook, Christine Sadry, Instagram, LinkedIn.
Yep.
Everything's all there.
Great. So I have not been to Books on Third, which is a adorable new bookstore in Naples, Florida. Tell me a little bit about that shop. I need to get over there.
It's on the second floor. It's right above, I'm having a moment, but it's right on Third,
Yes.
and just walk up the steps. It's a lovely place. It's so quaint. If you feel the books, there's a sofa. It's just beautiful, and you see all these books, and the two lovely women that own it, and they have book signings, different authors. Actually, last week they had a New York Times bestseller, a woman that was there with her book. They have little get-togethers, children's books. It's a lovely place, and I'll be there on Thursday at 4 o'clock.
Great, great, wonderful. Well, as we close today's episode, we want to thank Christine for trusting us with her story, for reminding us of the strength it takes to reclaim your identity and turn pain into purpose. If her journey moved you, you can connect with Christine and learn more about her work online. And you can find her award-winning book, 13 Years Lost, wherever books are sold, also on her website, christinesadry.com. We encourage you to read it. I have a copy. My husband has read it. We both love it. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our YouTube channel so that you never miss a conversation. These stories do matter, and your support helps us bring powerful voices to this platform. And if you want to go deeper with you, we invite you to join our Step Into Grace membership, or you can reach out to me directly in order to become a speaker on our podcast or to one of our What's Your Story in-person speaking opportunities. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll see you next time. Bye for now. Bye, Christine.
Thank you. Bye bye. Thank you so
Bye.
much.